Carson Wentz got called out by his coach. I mean, in looking at the context of the conversation, it seemed that a lot of the vitriol was taken out of context. And Carson Wentz hasn't been bad this year, right? He has almost 1,400 passing yards in 5 games. Okay, almost 280 yards per game. He has 10 passing touchdowns already through 5 games. 2 per game it makes it competitive. He's 8th among quarterbacks in fantasy points per game. He does have 77 rushing yards on the season, so he's not been running as much as he has in the past. Like we look at his 2017 year where he had 313 games, or even in 2020 in 12 games he had 276. Last year, not running as much, and this year that pattern continues. So Carson Wentz, I think he's a high-end QB2 going into this matchup. My concern with Wentz is twofold. One is I don't think the Bears offense is going to challenge Washington to be scoring a lot of points. Like, they're not going to push Washington to score. So I don't think there's going to be a big need for Carson Wentz to be throwing down the field or stretching the field very often or playing catch up. The game script is going to keep things relatively close. If we look at the game total over under 37.5 points in this game, 38, depending upon which sportsbook you're looking at, but 18, just over 18 points implied, right, for the Washington Commanders. So, this is a game where I do want to be a little bit lower and more pessimistic on Carson Wentz, quarterback 17. He has had 3 games where he's finished as a top 6 quarterback, but the games he did not finish as a top 6 quarterback so far this year, he's finished 27th or lower both of those games. So it's been boom bust for Carson Wentz. Like, looking at the games he boomed against Jacksonville, right? Jacksonville with an offense that can push. Detroit with an offense that can push. Tennessee, things were going well for Tennessee. If you Derrick Henry and Ryan Tannehill were connecting. So, I think this is going to be a slower paced game. This is going to be a game where Carson Wentz is not going to need to throw a lot of passes, right? It's going to be more of the 200 to 220 passing yards. And in fact, the over under via Roto Grinders, I believe, is passing yards is 220.5. So the expectation is Carson Wentz not going to be a bastion of fantasy success in this game. I want to be just a little bit lower than my peers on Carson Wentz here, but not too much. Just quarterback 17. It is within this range of outcomes, but I don't think game script is in his favor, and it's a Thursday night game, so I'm a little lower on Carson Wentz going into week 6.